Quiet Loud. This is Jessica Burko's exhibit to reveal her attempt to balance the expected roles of modern womanhood with maintaining a sense of self. Her pieces, which are self-portraits in motion, visualize the contradiction between asserting an identity as an individual and being lost in the onslaught of parenthood. Got a chance to check out some of these works before Jessica came in today, and she's actually going to show us a couple here and talk a little bit about the exhibit, which runs through January 20th, again at Art Prov on 150 Chestnut Street. Jessica would like to welcome you around the corner. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Back in your old stomping grounds.
Yep.
I'm going to have you take another little step closer over to here to talk about the exhibit at Art Prov. Again, Quiet Loud. I gave folks a little primer, again, balancing the sense of identity with motherhood. Talk with us about how this whole exhibit came to be. As an artist, when you're coming up with these pieces, do you have a sense that, again, this is going to be a thematic display of your work focused on this particular issue area, and then the works come out in your artistic forms?
So I've been creating artwork for more than 2 decades, and I have appreciated making work on a number of different subjects, and I have been very influenced by having children and trying to maintain my career as an artist while also putting on the additional hat of being mom. So this current series came out of experiencing that change and flow and wanting to express it visually. The title, Quiet Loud, refers to the loudness of life right now and the quiet that I'm always trying to seek.
That balance, it's at Art Prov right now, and it's been running for quite some time. And what's the reaction been? I mean, is this a universal, to women especially, again, the theme, mothers, what have they told you? Does this resonate with them?
It really does. Many mothers who have seen the exhibition have emailed me or told me in person how much they relate to the concept. And when they see the images, which are really depictions of the emotions surrounding the ideas, they definitely have felt a connection to the images they see, but then also really the themes.
So talk with us. You brought a couple works in, and I want to start with what you have now and talk about both the work itself and the medium in which you use, because that's unique in and of itself. So talk a little bit about what we have here.
So the imagery on this piece is a self-portrait. All of the work in the show, they're all self-portraits. And in this piece, I have a children's toy wooden block in my mouth. And the idea of this, it's from a series of a group of work called Quiet. And they're installed in the gallery all together in a grid type structure. It's about being silenced as a person by being a mother, and again, trying to navigate around that. The work is a combination of photography and encaustic, which is a blend of beeswax and resin. And I do image transfers both underneath the encaustic and onto the encaustic surface. And the pieces are all created on reclaimed wood.
So how did you come to develop the method in which you have made this? You explained the process by which you go through it. Is this something you've been working on for a while? Is this something that you experiment with? Talk to us, to the average layperson who goes in and sees it and goes, wow, that's really interesting. How did she achieve this? How did this come to be your medium in this particular piece?
All of my background is in fine art photography and traditional photography, but I, for a long time, have been trying to get the photographic image out of the frame and really enable the viewer to have a more direct connection, not have the glare and the reflection from the glass. And I actually saw an exhibition when I was in graduate school of an artist who was using wax with their photographs. And so ever since then, I've been experimenting. And it really has been a process.
So fantastic. We have another piece I'd love to talk about, so I'm going to put this one down here. And I'll hand over this one here and hold it the way
Thank you.
It's meant to be held.
So this is a slightly larger piece, and this piece uses one of the images that's repeated in the show of the wishbone. And again, it's the idea that even though I like my life and I love my children and I love my family. I still always wish for more time and more sense of place and wanting to be a little bit still of the person I was before being a mother. And so the idea of wishing has always been an underlying theme in my autobiographical work. So this is Holding a Wish. It's called Hold On, and it's one of several different wishbone pieces in the show.
So I appreciate you bringing these in so folks can really get a sense. Now, again, this is running through January 20th at Art Prov, but you're giving a talk this evening.
I am.
At 6:30 at 150 Chestnut Street on the 3rd floor with Art Prov. So if you're watching right now and want to know a little bit more, how many pieces total are part of this exhibit?
Oh, that's a very good question.
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Well, there are many very small pieces that work together to form groupings. So I actually don't know off the top of my head how many pieces there are.
Totally fine. And how long, cumulatively, did it take you to put together all of this work that's on display?
That's a great question. I've actually been working on this series for about 2 years. And this is the first time I've shown the work as a body in its entirety. And I'm so thrilled to be doing it at Art Prov, not just being back in Providence where I went to school, but the gallery itself is the perfect location for first showing this work. The walls are a gray, which is unusual for galleries, and this work, because it's so pale and monochromatic, really pops from the walls, and it really makes the work shine.
Fantastic. Well, this exhibit is just one piece of who you are as an artist, as a curator. So I want to talk and let folks know a little bit more about you. You talk about being the mother, the artist, the whole person. You do a lot in the art business besides just creating art. So let's talk maybe a little bit about the museum experience.
Yeah, well, I technically have 4 jobs at the moment. I've done internships at museums, and I've worked in private galleries and university galleries for quite a few years. Currently, I'm the marketing director at Kingston Gallery in the South End in Boston, and I do that job while I'm also still a working artist, and I teach workshops around New England, teaching other independent artists how to do their own promotion and marketing. I do that largely through the Mass MoCA Museum and a program they have called Assets for Artists. In addition to that, as you mentioned, I curate exhibitions. I have one coming up that opens next month at the New Art Center in Newton. And I am a mom, and all of these things come together to make who I am, but it's hard to juggle. It's hard to navigate. And I find that I have that conversation with many of my mom friends who are maintaining a professional career after having children, and it's always a juggle.
It's a juggle indeed. And how did you talk about working with other artists, giving them those workshops about promotion, about marketing. Was this self-taught, or was this something a little scholastically with RISD combined with real-life experience, again, to have both sides of the angle, creating the art and promoting it? How did you come to this place where you were at?
Well, when I think about it, I almost feel like I'm in the family business a little bit. I'm from an art family. My mother is a working artist, and my father was a writer and worked in advertising as my whole childhood. So I think in the back of my mind, I had that experience in the art world through my mother and understood communication through my father. And in graduate school, I was spontaneously offered a position as the PR coordinator for the photography gallery. And that really started it off, and it was very much a one thing led to another. Artists started asking me for advice, and then by word of mouth, I started teaching small workshops that then became bigger and bigger, and it's been a wonderful path, and I enjoy working with artists very much.
And if you're watching now, the website, JessicaBurko.com.
Yep, that's my website.
Getting the URL is always key. Twitter handles, Instagram, will have those up there as well. And you mentioned it took a couple years to put together this body of work. And when I talk with writers, artists, folks who were showing something I ask them the sort of, do you know what's next? What are you looking to create? What do you envision moving forward? I know you've got a full plate, but what are we going to see from Jessica Burko?
I don't feel that this project is finished. I feel like this is really the first step. As I go through my process making work, I'm always learning and developing new techniques and coming up with new visual ideas. So after this show, I will continue to be making work that will fit in with some of the work in the show and will naturally go into new directions.
Okay, very good. Well, again, at Art Prov, running through January 20th. Quiet loud.
Thank you.
And do the kids enjoy art? Are they part of the family business as well?
They do. They're a little too comfortable in art galleries. They usually come in, do a quick look around, and then lie down on the floor. They do a lot of art. We have a lot of art at home, and all of the art supplies are easily accessible, so they can go at any time they want and pull things out and start their own projects, and they do, and they love it.
Well, again, go to Art Prov. Check this out. Again, the talk this evening, 6:30, if you're interested to learn a little bit more from Jessica about this exhibit at Art Prov, 150 Chestnut Street on the 3rd floor. But Jessica, I appreciate your taking the time to come in.
Thanks for having me.
I know it's close by, and I know that you're going to spend the night, check out what's been going on in Providence since you've just recently graduated from RISD.
Yeah.
Jessica Burko, thank you again. We're going to take a quick break here and welcome our next guest into the studio.